summoned you here for a purpose.
TransformYourGame.net.
Welcome one, welcome all, and welcome back to the 16th episode of the Transform Your Game podcast. I'm Richard, and as it stands, I'm actually the person lucky enough to serve as your host and moderator here today. I've also got one of my wonderful co-hosts joining me. Say hi, Kent.
Belligerence was an inside job.
He stole that from me. We were talking about that before offline. That was my line. Anyway, last week we had the honor of interviewing Wizards of the Coast's own Drew Nolasco, the brand manager for the Transformers TCG, and a great guy overall. We had an awesome time talking to Drew about the recently released Wave 5, Titan Masters Attack, as well as just covering some of the more state-of-the-game type questions that I'm sure were burning in many of your minds as well as ours. I'm sure that our regular listeners were likely very much looking forward to us having the whole crew back and in the normal swing of things. But a slightly different opportunity presented itself to us kind of out of the blue. And as one of the groups blessed to be contributing regularly to the TFTCG community, in addition to our normal focus on strategy, we do see a part of our role being co-stewards with our fellow content creators for the community. And on that note, very recently, a big push for this huge collaboration between said content creators and other constituents of the TFTCG Facebook community was started by the illustrious Bleeped Up Productions YouTube channel. Today, Kent and I will be joined by Bleeped Up Productions' own Lee, a voice many of you have heard before. Lee, my friend, why don't you greet the good people?
How's it going, people? I haven't got anything really quirky to say. I'm just going to say, how's it going? Bar week, grana week, mini bong. There we go. We'll go with that. Let's go with a nice international greeting because it's early in the morning for me, but I'm happy to be here, guys.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
awesome.
You know, the time zone difference is something that I thought was going to be much more difficult to navigate than it ended up being. You seem very amenable to us, which I very much appreciate.
Yeah, I have just to slide away from Transformers, I'm a huge American sports fan. I'm a huge ice hockey fan and American football. So this kind of time when I was a younger self of myself, I would stay up and watch your lovely American sports. And then my parents would be like, why are you up at 4 a.m? You've got school the following day. And I'm like, but the Islanders are playing, or whoever I'm following at the time. So yeah, I'm used to this kind of time. It's easy.
All right. Well, Lee, the team over at Bleeped Up, you mind if I call it Bleeped Up? I don't know if that's...
Yeah, Bleeped Up's
Okay.
perfectly fine. Exactly it. That's
All right,
that's
all right.
fine.
Well, you guys are putting together / hosting this big collaborative effort called the Deck Tech Challenge. We wanted to dig a little deeper into it, if you don't mind. So, Kent, do you want to kick us off on the questions?
Sure. So, Lee, again, thank you so much for joining us today. So, the Deck Tech Challenge, what is it exactly?
Right, so the Deck Tech Challenge is just a ginormous collaboration of content creators or even people in the community to just basically start playing the TCG, getting people involved, and just showing highlights to channels that actually, do content but probably don't get a lot of love, which is kind of, sacrilegious, I think, because there's a lot of people that put a lot of time into doing podcasts, vlogs, blogs, videos, and you look at them and you just go like, man, they've probably put several hours or even days into this edit and they've only got like 30 or 40 views. This should be way more than that. So the whole idea for this collaboration was just to get channels that are quite prevalent on YouTube and also some of the smaller channels that I enjoy watching, and basically go, hey, let's Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter this up. So I decided to put on my Shang Tsung beard, my Hayachi wig, and just decided to go, hey, why not do a ginormous mega collaboration? And the floodgates opened. It was really cool. We've got 20 content creators, whether they be on the Facebook, whether they're from Kindle Hobbies, Pips and Flips Instagram account, Def TCG, Matafo, Deceptor, BVO, you guys. Yeah, you've got like a little foundation going on, which is pretty awesome. And obviously the guys at Vector Sigma, powered by Primus. We reached out to other channels as well, but obviously they're doing their own kind of thing as well. But they might step in for the odd challenge here and there for the odd rounds. So it'd be pretty cool to get those guys on as well. So those people listening know who you are, and the door is always open if you wanted to be a part of this.
Well, they could be like bonus characters.
Exactly. That's why on the selector screen we have a new challenger coming, because I know a lot of the guys have their dedicated media guru who is always editing or doing some sort of video, and they just invite their friends to basically come and play, and they do all the hard work. So yeah, we've left it open for them, so they know who they are. So feel free at any point to get in touch and be a part of this amazing mega collaboration we're doing.
I gotta say, I love the fighting game theme of the whole thing. I'm huge into fighting games and into that community as well. And, you know, then the fact that it's a throwback, and you have 20 challengers right now. So I guess it makes it Transformers Street Fighter 2 Super Turbo.
Yeah, exactly. Just keep putting like massive words on the end, like Turbo, Hyper Edition, Alpha, Ultimate.
Too, because of the mechanical theme, like you could throw in some like overdrive or something. You could throw in some words like that. It'll just hit all the buzzwords. I'll just hit them all.
Exactly. Well, that's what we wanted to do. Like, Mike and me only did a tester episode, and then Mike and me were talking afterwards, going like, "What if we just open the floodgates and asked a few content creators?" Because I think that's one thing a lot of people are scared about on the internet. Is obviously you're making yourself very vulnerable because you're putting yourself out there to begin with, and you're always going to either get people that love you or hate you. And then I was like, well, there's nothing bad about just asking a question. And because we've collaborated with other people in the past, a lot of people have said, yeah, we would love to do something with you. And I was like, cool. Well, I've got this idea. And then it just kind of spread like wildfire. And it's kind of interesting to see, because I put it out in the UK community, and we've got a fair few UK members in our fighting ranks, should we say. But you guys in the States, not messing around. Like, I was like, well, kind of worried about asking these people, because there's some big names in this. They're basically, if you're going into this as a fighting professional, okay, so we've got like the reigning world champion Dan in this, the guy that basically made Preceptor, which either, if you've just heard that name, is either made you go yes or threw up a little bit in your mouth. You've got Stefan. You've got all these bigwigs in this small pond, should we say? But I really like it, and the idea behind it is basically to get people playing the game and basically look at characters that people might not want to do, but also it's basically to highlight people and their channels. That's all it really is. It's basically like, these guys do a podcast, or this guy does a blog, but he wants to do this. So yeah, let's highlight those people.
Yeah, actually, and I promise our content, my rounds are actually coming in. I know I'm a little bit behind on that.
Oh, don't worry about that. It's fine. They come thick and fast. Trust me. There's some days where I just want to relax, and then I open up my Facebook and I'm just like, cool, I was expecting some technical issues, and that's perfectly fine, being the Shang Tsung of this whole tournament. But I'm perfectly fine with it. Like, I knew there's going to be technical difficulties, there's time differences, there's people's schedules and stuff. But the best thing about it is what we said at the beginning. There's 20 people. So there's 10 fights in the first round. As soon as they're done, they're going to the editing thing, and round 2 is going straight in. So we're going to try. Now this is a bold claim. So we're going to try and get 2 rounds out per week if we can. If not, it'll be around a week. So obviously you can see that we want to try and grow the game. And obviously with our channel, we had a bit of a hiccup with our hard drive getting corrupted, where we lost 6 months of work. So Mike and me, there's going to be illegal battle reports that you'll never ever see, where I ran a 30-star team because for ages I thought it was 30 stars, and that was fine for some weird reason. And yeah, just loads of really stupid plays, stuff that will never see the light of day, unfortunately. Some really good deck ideas that unfortunately will not see the light of day. So it basically gave us an idea of where should we take this channel going forward. And like, I love doing miniature games, I love doing board games, and I love doing the TCG. So going forward, we're going to push the Transformers a ton because we absolutely love Transformers. It's a big thing for me in my whole life. And when it comes back to normal life, I've got stuff lined up for miniature gaming and other stuff like that with other friends who now have seen what I'm doing and where I want to take the channel have said, I would like to help you. So, asking for help and asking just in general can really open up like the floodgates for a lot of things if you're thinking about doing anything out there, if you're listening to this podcast.
Yeah, I think one of the things that probably attracted, you said there's so many people who are participating. I'm really enjoying interacting with my first round opponent, Matifer. Not a particularly huge YouTube channel, but the guy's awesome. He's from Canada, so there's not a whole lot of ways where we would have connected necessarily otherwise. But I think one of the things that attracted people like us and the other people that are participating in this is that you really look like, we talked about your perfectionism. Maybe offline, maybe online, I can't actually remember anymore. It's starting to blur together for me.
It's perfectly fine. It's all good.
But I think, it looks very polished. I love the fighting game aesthetic, just like Kent mentioned earlier. Like, how did that idea come to you, that it was that's how you wanted to kind of build this out as kind of like that format?
So the idea for me was, I think Dan puts it in because I'm finishing off episode 3 right now. Like, episode 2 is released, you can go out and watch it. Dan versus Corey. I can't believe some of the characters and cards they threw out in the first episode. It's amazing, absolutely love it. Or second episode, so we say. But yeah, it was really interesting trying to figure out how it works. And like, if you think about it, we're all coming from all over the world to basically play a card game. Whenever you go to a tournament, you're going against everyone else. And the first thing I thought was like, dude, this is like Mortal Kombat. This is like Tekken. This is Street Fighter. This is the stuff I used to play when I was a kid. So then it was just basically going for, how can we make it fun? And, it is like what you says. If you see like some of the stuff we've done already, it does, the nostalgia bell does click a little bit. Like, I have a few friends that are working on like literally music for us and stuff like that, and loads of other fun stuff that we're going to do as the tournament progresses. But the whole idea is we want this challenge not to just stay on this channel. Like, we would love for it to stay on this and say, this is our baby, this is amazing. But what we've done is we've basically said, we've opened it up for anyone who watches the video. Like, you can do this in your local communities, in your local game centers. You can basically go, hey man, I've really got this crappy character and I've got these battle cards for you. Do you want to try and build a deck? Let's try something different instead of, playing the norm, which everyone seems to be, going towards. Because there is definitely like two scenes to any kind of game. You have like the casuals and the competitive. And yes, I've dabbled in both, and it's very educational in both as well. But it's just basically to open up a new avenue for people to actually look back on, to look back in your binder as well, and just go, wait a minute, what's this character do again? Oh, wait a minute, he might be good now. I'll throw that to my opponent, or maybe I'll try that out with this person. So yeah, it's just a bit of fun, really.
I mean, that's actually an interesting point that you bring up. Kent and I and the rest of our team over here at Transforming Game, we typically focus on the more competitive side of things, but this sounded like too much fun to pass up, for one.
Exactly.
And number two, one of the things that we bring up a lot when we're talking about characters, when we're trying to evaluate them, is sometimes like this idea that a deck is almost there, right? Maybe a deck with Windsweeper is almost there, or I think in Wave 3, or I guess in Wave 2, like I had this Cars deck idea that was almost there, and then Cars took over Wave 3. That wasn't just my idea, but like several different people's iterations. My point is, these kind of like, you termed it casual gaming, but I think it's more just like exploratory gaming a lot of the time. Like, I think that's like a lot of people's spirit in doing that type of, what if we did it this way? It's very exploratory. They want to find new things. And that's really helpful for people like me who are compulsive deck builders. If you saw the Google Drive that we proverbially mentioned in our podcast episodes, you would be taken aback. And also, 75% of those lists suck. They are terrible.
Well, you got to start somewhere, haven't you? That's the one thing I think when it comes to any game, especially with the Transformers. I think you can always look and go, it's got to start somewhere. And I think that's the one thing, I can say it, one of our lovely cohorts, D, took a little bit of time away from the game. wasn't enjoying it as much as he used to. The leap from Wave 2 to Wave 3 really got him down a little bit. He was really excited about playing combiners, and combiners were at a really good point in Wave 2, I thought. And then Wave 3 happened, and they kind of took a back seat, and they didn't get a lot of love. And the stuff that D really liked playing really was just kind of pushed to the side, and it just kind of took him out of the game a little bit as well, with the idea of deck building and stuff like that, because not everyone's into the whole idea of deck building. Some people struggle with it. It's it's a thing. But now he's back. He's had some time off. He's been getting cards on and off since not playing the game. But he's determined to play a lot of fun stuff. And the one thing he told me was he wanted to be a part of this series because he wanted to get back into the game. And why not go back through the old cards and have a little bit of fun and meet new people and see what the game holds for him now. And I think that's a really good thing about this challenge is people who are probably just stepped away for a small amount of time and kind of curious about getting back into it, or even starting, the new wave is perfect. It is such a good jumping on point. Sure, you might need to go back and get a few of the older cards or whatever, but Wave 5 is a really good jumping on point. And I think because we're now 5 sets in and we've got loads of characters, you've got so many characters to choose from, you can go back and do so much fun stuff.
Okay, you want to hit him with the next question?
Sure. What was the sort of driving factor behind a push for a collaborative effort kind of like this? We've seen some things where, maybe a channel might bounce off of one another, like we had an interview with Stefan, and then Dan interviewed Richard. But something of this magnitude has never even been attempted before.
I feel really cocky saying this because I feel like it's like a Vince McMahon kind of thing. Why the heck not? Seriously, we live my personal opinion is we live in a time where technology is literally at our fingertips. Because of coronavirus, which is an unfortunate thing, it's affected a lot more people, not just us nerds who love playing with cards. It's affected the world. We need to rethink about a lot of things, and I was like, why not bring people together? And this is the perfect opportunity because not just people have been playing stuff online, Vector Sigma have done an online tournament. They're running one right now because the stores can't do anything. And, why not try a collaboration with all these channels? Why not try and stuff? Because guess what? The funniest thing is if it fails, it fails. And all you do is well, we tried. But it's not something we took lightly because obviously there's a lot of people involved and there's a lot of different time zones, but if you actually plan it and get it calculated down, it can be really effective. And also the fact is you make a lot of new friends from across the pond, because trust me, I know for a fact I have a lot of friends in Colorado, and I know that Jamie from Powered by Primus is in Colorado, and if I said, oh yeah, I'm visiting your area, guaranteed he'd be like, bring your cards and come to the local store, please. And that's what I would do. And I think that's the best thing about this is, just to give a sneak peek for episode 3, I think Dan and Mondo are literally having a normal conversation halfway through the battle report, and it's we would never have met each other if it wasn't for this collaboration, but we have something that's in common. And it's really cool to see literally genuine people who have no idea who they are, just generally have a love for a specific topic and then basically run with it, or a hobby. And it's really, really cool to see that actually in the edit, where you just go, man, these people have just been thrown together by some guy in England and now they've kind of nerd friends. This is cool. So yeah, I'm not going to say I'm the Vince McMahon or anything like that, but I think you just got to try and take risks. I think that's the one thing in life. You learn more from your mistakes than you do from your successes. It's really funny. A lot of people will say, oh, you did a good job, but you always feel okay, cool, I did. But then if you mess up, a lot of people say, you messed up, but here's why. And you always learn from those experiences more than your successes, I believe. And so that's why we're going to try and get 20 people to try and play cards over the internet and basically put it on YouTube. Sounds crazy, but you know, I'm editing like episode 6 right now, guys. So it seems to be working right now. So I can't complain.
That's awesome, and it's kind of undeniable. This is a ton of work for y'all. You in particular, it sounds like. So I imagine that obviously, if you're going to pour this much effort into something, that you really, really are trying to ensure that it's a success when everything shakes out. So what would you say are some of the hallmarks that you guys are looking for that would really make it feel like this was a successful effort and a venture that maybe like sets a precedent going forward?
I would say it's just the genuine reaction you have between people in games. Like, I think you see it a little bit in Dan's and Corey's game in episode 2. Like, Dan and Corey in round 1 kind of didn't know each other. In round 2, they're kind of starting to make jokes a little bit. In round 3, they're already laughing and talking about stuff, and they're going, hey, we could try this, you could try that, that's really cool. They did not know each other like a week ago. Like, they did not know each other, but now they're like mates, like nerd mates. Like
The best kind.
It is the best kind, obviously. But it's just we want people to take risks. Like, I feel like sometimes we kind of put like celebrities and others like in the limelight, and we go like, oh, I wonder if we could do this or we could do that, and ask questions. Don't be afraid. Ask questions. Like, when I went to the Energon Open, I didn't expect to sit down with Drew and then have a really awesome 45-minute conversation with him and then play a game with a guy that, you know, was like, oh yeah, I know you like Ultra Magnus, so why don't you try my Magnus deck out and give me some pointers? And I was like, oh, I'm taking up a lot of your time. He's like, no, let's go. And then we basically talked about like stuff other than the game. Like, he was there obviously for the tournament in London, but he was going to my neck of the woods to go to the GW studios and spend money on toy soldiers, guys. Yeah, that's what we do. We take your money. Just GW, we take all your money. But no, it was really cool because it is kind of fun like that, because you know, you do genuinely just have a love for a card game, but then you realize, oh yeah, these people have the same love for me, for the same game that I have, so we have a common interest. Sure, we might not get along and we might be a bit weird, but at the end of the day, it's just taking risks, and that's why this is a huge risk, because, you know, I'm not going to lie, I've narrowed it down to 20. My inbox was like a bigger number than 20, and I just wanted to say, like, we will have you on at some point, but I just wanted to have these people at the moment, if that's okay. And you'll be surprised how kind people are. Some people were like, okay, thank you very much, thanks for the opportunity. Some people were like, oh, come on, please, come on, I want to be a part of this, it'll be great. And then you had some people who I can't really explain on a podcast would leave educational messages in your thing. So I do feel like Vince McMahon. But it's all about taking risks, and it should be good fun. And it's enjoyable for us, because I think it was a kind of an accidental blessing when we lost all our work. We were like, what can we do now? Because we do call battle reports. We do it a bit different to everyone else. We call them battle reports, for goodness sake. People will get confused by that period instead of just the game. Why not take a risk? Why not try something? And that's what we're doing. That's why we're doing this lovely Deck Tech Challenge.
Man, this is just so awesome. How long is the Deck Tech Challenge supposed to run? And how can people find it and engage with it?
Okay, so this is the bold claim. You guys have not signed anything. You guys can walk away at any point, but there's 20 of you. You're all going to play each other once, hopefully. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, hopefully. That'd be awesome.
That's the boldest play. That's the boldest thing. But obviously, we've got people who have done stuff online. Like, obviously, Dan, Scott, and the guys at Vector Sigma, those guys know what they're doing. So we can always lean on them to ask for a little bit of help. But we've also got other people on this who have, you know, so many amazing things going on their own channels. Like, let's look at Def TF, for example. Let's look at Stefan's channel. Stefan doesn't really do battle reports as much, but he gives amazing deck techs. Like, he is a master. He is Akuma, okay? He is Akuma, as his username states. He is Akuma of deck building.
Team rolling, yeah.
Exactly. So I need to talk to him about actually making a cool cool kind of Akuma intro for him. That'd be pretty funny. So every time you beat him, it'll be hilarious. But then you've got others like Jamie from Powered by Primus, who, you know, draws his own art. He's basically running his own website and stuff like that. You've also got Fred from Kindle Hobbies in Malaysia, of all places, who basically is the hub for people who play the Transformers in the TCG in Malaysia. And the idea is, with this, is we want it to just spread like wildfire. So we haven't really thought that far ahead about how people can get involved in it. Obviously, we've got the private group on Facebook to basically talk all about, like, you know, how your fights and how it's going and how are you guys coping with life, etc. Because that's the one thing I want to do when I come across when I'm doing a collaboration, is like, I don't want to feel like a ball and chain. I want to make sure that everyone's still having fun. Is everyone okay? Anyone want to back out? That's perfectly fine. We can completely understand that. But we want them just to watch the video, because the videos basically tell you what to do, and then hopefully you guys, obviously, who are taking part in this challenge, can also spread it around in your local communities, because I think word of mouth is also really, really strong with certain games like this. Because if you think about most like card games, like not a lot of people know. Like I didn't even know there was like world championships for Magic the Gathering. That's how crazy it is for me. I didn't know there was like stuff for Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, and all these other things unless you asked people or you used the internet. I forgot to use the internet. But most of the time it was just like, we want it just to spread out on other channels as well. So if they want to, they can just get in touch with me. I'm on the Facebook, and I'm in the Facebook group for the TCG. You can find me there if you want to do some of these challenges on your channel. You can just have the graphics and stuff, and I'm willing to give them away. Like, I just want to promote the game and to promote the community, and I just want to get more content creators who do a lot of work, but don't get a lot of joy on the views and stuff like that. Because I know we all have a passion for this, and I know it's very niche as well. It's very, very niche. But it does. You do realize at some points in when you're editing and stuff like that, it's like, what's the point? I'm only going to get 10 views or whatever. But then you realize it's one of those things where you go to a convention or you go to like a game tournament and someone comes up to you and goes like, hey man, I really enjoy your videos. I was like, you sound like that guy from that channel. Are you that guy? That kind of just makes it all worth it. One of my hilarious highlights, which was one of the most scariest and also funniest things I ever had, was I got really drunk at a War Machine of convention, which is like a miniatures game. I got absolutely shit-faced. It was really, really bad. And I went, and the funniest thing was there was a McDonald's right down the road from where this was. And I'm going there and I'm stumbling with some of my friends, and I'm just basically trying to find my wallet. I don't know where my wallet was. It was in my hotel room, just so you guys don't have to worry too much.
That's so much.
Yeah, it's so good. And I couldn't find it. And then a couple from Belgium bought me a Big Mac meal, and then sat down and told me they watched my videos and really loved my podcast and loads of other fun stuff. And it's kind of little interactions like that which makes it all worth it. And also the fact that you can just, like, I think the best thing which Wizards do really, really well is when a new set's coming out, they actually do talk to content creators, and they do give you kind of like sneaky spoilers, or you ask the question, hey, can I have a spoiler card? That'd be amazing. And they will give it you, which is really, really cool. We forgot to ask. But I also think but we also think we're out of favor with Wizards, just because we kind of took a ginormous dump on one of the cards they gave us. But Kai gave it me for my Deck Tech Challenge, which I use. So
which card is it? Forgive me. I don't
Special Delivery. We got Special Delivery, which was move 1 damage token from your character to another character. The Black Pip. So at the point where the game was, we were like, this card doesn't make any sense. Seeming the cards we got before were Metal Detector, banging card, and Micro Capacitor, which is absolutely amazing with Soundwave. And I was like, man, we got a mixed bag of cards, but I'm still grateful for Wizards to giving me cards. And you know, we're gonna ask again when the new wave comes. Like, we would love to do some spoilers, and you know, just we're here to do stuff. But I think because we do other content on our channel, we're not focused as other channels. But going forward, we've kind of just gone, right, Transformers is our thing. That's our main thing. We're going to keep pushing. We'll have our side projects of fun videos which are coming down the pipeline, but our main thing on our channel is the TCG.
That's awesome.
Hey, back to getting some of the cards that you've been ragging on.
Yes.
I got Autobot Whirl.
Did you
Oh,
really?
man. Good job.
I
Oh
did.
my
I did. And like every podcast, it seems we have at least one Whirl joke. So, and I had the choice between Whirl or Waveform Mirage, and I was like, you know what? I'm playing Whirl.
You
for
gotta
sure.
pick Whirl.
You've got to. Of course you've got to play it. Even if you have to proxy it, you have to play it.
I opened one, of course.
So did I.
Okay, nice. Like I think my STRs I pulled. Well, obviously my unboxing video, you saw I got a Night Racer, which was ridiculous. But the one beforehand, I got Trax, and Trax was actually one I really wanted out of this set. Like that guy has the most stupidish posh voice ever in the TV series.
He really does. Yes.
He does. So you know for a fact if I'm using him in a battle report, I've gone into my archive of footage of finding the worst clips. So yeah, my notification on my phone right now is Optimus Prime going, a booby trap made to catch boobies. And like my mum literally the other day was like, what was that? And I was like, it's my notification, Mum, don't worry about it. And she was like, that was Optimus Prime. And like I could understand like, yeah it is, Mum, sorry. And she was just like, you watch some weird things. I was like, no, that's from the cartoon, that's nothing else, Mum. Trust me.
Yeah.
But no.
I do apologize to the viewers for laughing over your entire response there.
Oh, fine. Don't worry about it. It's all good.
My question is, to bring us a little bit back around. So one of the things I really like about the Deck Tech Challenge is because it kind of feels like it's very much in the spirit of the community at large. One of the things that I think the points that have been hammered home over time is kind of the idea that this community's been like really receptive to one another, as opposed to like there's some toxicity that can be bred in these competitive style games, these TCGs. And I've experienced it firsthand in some other ones that I've played, and I know I'm not the only person who's done something like that. I think Kai comes from Yu-Gi-Oh, which is a notoriously toxic community. No offense to anyone in there, just from what I've heard and seen. And my friends who've been part
we've
of it.
seen it. It's true. There is some card, games out there. I've seen it. I've seen it at Dragon Ball tournaments where I've kind of been like, wow, okay.
Yeah, and my point was that. This effort, this large scale collaboration, which hopefully is not the first of many, right? But like, also seems like it's kind of a microcosm of that larger spirit amongst people that participate in this game, and I really love that. So I want to know how you guys are going to top it. What else do you have in kind of like your what's the word I'm looking for? The hopper or something like that.
Well,
on the spot.
Wizards. I know, it's perfectly fine. Wizards are amazing. Wizards are great. I'm not trying to brown nose them as I give them this answer. Wizards are awesome. I really love it. But for us personally in England, this is not me trying to dab or point fingers at anyone. America, you get a lot of love. You have like Pro Tours, you have prize tournaments. There's nothing in the UK. There's nothing. So for us coming into this, we were like, let's do it on the internet. There's people in our community that are afraid to kind of go and take risks. Mondo, for example, who's a part of the challenge, part of the Facebook community, he's the only guy at the moment I know who's ran a tournament. Mike was supposed to be running a tournament in June. I have plans for one in November. But I think it's basically for us, we need people to be like at the front of the army, basically with a megaphone saying, we want to do this. What's the worst thing that can happen? People will yell at saying you're doing a terrible job. Okay, cool. Well, help me. And that's why the one thing we've done with this community challenge is we want people to be inspired in the community to do this and be a part of it. Because I think that's the one thing I found with this community is we all love this card game, but at the end of the day, I think a lot of us love the fact that we were kids once and we all were on the playgrounds and we all owned our toys. I had a crappy hot rod. I'm looking at it right now. It's on my desk. Some people are really cool and they owned an Optimus Prime or a Megatron. They were well-off kids. Or you couldn't afford it and you had a baby Bumblebee or something like that. You have some sort of love for this, the Transformers. Like, a prime example, I always love talking to Brian at Wreck and Rule because he is a huge figure nut. Like, he loves the figures. Like, every photo you see when they post in the community, he's got it posing with some sort of figure. Joe, look at Joe's background in his studio. Look at Nick at Blues on Attack. His studio video he just did. Oh my gosh. Holy cow, guys. Like, these are the people that we all are, kind of, in a way. We all love this game, and we all love Transformers. We have our niche things, but we want to just have fun. Like, come on. Like, we want to just, we just want the community to just be, you know, more than just like, you know, we just play this card game. We all have a passion for this lovely medium, which is called the Transformers, whether it be the comics, the hilarious TV show. It is hilarious. Or, dare I say it, the further series like Beast Wars and stuff like that, which I got older, so I didn't really, you know, watch those kind of things. I was into more like Batman the Animated Series and other stuff like that when I got older, so Beast Wars kind of was like lost in it and stuff like that. But I think that's the most interesting thing about our community is we've got people from different backgrounds who are bringing that to the table, which I think is really, really cool.
Absolutely. You know, I think that probably closes it as far as questions we have specifically about
Cool.
the Deck Tech Challenge. And you know, for those of you who either haven't been paying attention or need a little quick reminder, you can find that on the channel for Bleeped Up Productions over on YouTube. Like and subscribe. They deserve your patronage. But Ken and I had a couple other talking points.
Sure.
Just some general kind of like, you know, we're trying to get to know other people who are content creators in the community as well. So I thought we hit on something like that real quick. You mind?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, no, that's perfectly fine. That's awesome. That's what I'm here for. So yeah, let's do it.
Awesome. Well, Wave 5 has just come out. I think we're all very, very excited about this set and the power level of it and all the, you know, modularization that you can do with the Titan Masters and kind of make it your own thing and the way you want to play. Have you really gotten to play much of Wave 5, either with physical cards or proxies after the spoilers were released? And do you have any favorite cards that you've been able to play with?
Okay, yeah. Right, so...
And don't you dare say belligerence is your favorite.
Okay.
If you do, I'm editing it out.
That's perfectly fine. I'll leave the boys at Blues on Attack who revealed that card to basically be the communists of our whole party who basically have ruined the game for us, obviously. No.
Nice.
Still one of the greatest spoilers ever, though, is them getting Blues on Attack.
Yeah, it was really, really good. Yeah, those guys are awesome. I really like Nick and the guys. Really, really good. Great group of guys. But no, yeah. So Wave 5. To be honest, this is my honest opinion when it comes to spoilers and stuff like that. I stay away from it a little bit because I'm just like, I'd rather have it like fresh in my mind. But being a content creator, it's hard to avoid that. So when they started leaking them out, I was like, cool, this looks really different, but I won't play it quite yet. Then Corona happened, and then the community kind of started going into like making private groups and public groups of webcam games where they could still play the game Transformers, so they can just keep you know, in the loop of all their local communities. And I kind of was like, cool, yeah, I'll play a little bit. And then obviously as the cards got trickled out slowly but surely, yeah, people started playing more and more and more. And then, yeah, I started playing a little bit. I think it's a cop-out, but it's a really good cop-out. I think Fort Max is bonkers good. Like, holy cow. But then the problem is, everyone knows I like playing with the massive big boys. I'm a Titan fanatic. Give me Scorponok already, people. Come on.
Yeah.
You and Ken both.
Yeah, I'm a huge Scorponok fan. I mean, huge. So, yeah, I'm ready for that guy to come out.
Yeah.
And I hope he's tier 1 when he comes out. Wizards,
yeah, me too.
You hear that? Tier 1.
Yeah, tier 1. We want
They're not tuning it for this podcast. They're not listening to this going, oh, I wonder what the power level of Scorponok should be. Oh, thanks, Ken.
No,
I'm saying it jokingly.
But it's perfectly fine.
But not
Drew.
Jokingly.
Yeah, you're not joking at all, though.
Drew, if you're listening. Matt, if you're listening. Scorponok.
Ken as well.
Ken.
Okay, we can't forget about Ken. Sorry, Ken. I apologize.
Yeah, it's his
But
game.
Scorponok, please make him good. All right, no, yeah. So the best thing, tier one, please. No, but I think I like playing with Titans. Like my first major competitive deck I ever built was Metroplex, because the first thing I saw was like, cool, I love Metroplex and I love Trypticon. Okay, Trypticon is not out yet when Metroplex was out, so I was like, cool, I'll play Metroplex. And everyone's like, he's garbage, he's terrible. And I was like, challenge accepted. What do you mean? I'm just going to play Metroplex. I'm just going to play Metroplex and I'm going to make him work. So I got my ass handed to me many, many a times, I can gladly say. But it made me better and deck building and also thinking outside the box for the big guy. And then I crazily decided to take him to the Energon Open in London, and I got 13th with him, which kind of scared a lot of people, because I believe Mark, who was the other Metroplex player, he got like 11th or 10th, and we were the only two running Metroplex. And they were just like, oh, Metroplex, that's interesting. And then when they saw it, they're like, oh yeah, I forgot he does all these cool things. And I was like, yeah, isn't it fun? Not for you, but it's great for me. But,
Yeah.
but
My round one opponent at the Energon Invitational was playing Metroplex.
yeah, so much fun. He's so much fun. But I think that's the thing. I think with this game is you need to find a character that suits you down to the bare bones. So like for me, I will always play Metroplex because I like the character. Like, dare I say it, one of my favorite characters of all time is Rumble, who's a little cassette. I love playing Soundwave, obviously, but I kind of have a bit of a love relationship with any Decepticon or Autobot who basically looks like Bret the Hitman Hart from WWE. So, mate, I fell in love with Blitzwing as the series went on, obviously in the G1 cartoon, and then Wizards. Yes, Ken. Yes, Drew. Yes, Matt. You made Blitzwing, and a little bit of my soul died. And it's perfectly fine. It's perfectly fine. We all got past it because then you made up for it. Because obviously when we talked to Drew, you know, they were the testers, and then we got the amazingness, which is Astro Train and Springer. So hopefully we get a better Blitzwing in the future. But no, going back to what. Yeah, I hope we do. But yeah, so going back to Wave 5, Ultra Maximus Fortress Maximus Madman, he is so good. Like, if you build him correctly, he can make a lot of opponents cry. And it's really, really interesting too, because it's like it's basically he's a giant Russian doll. You blow him up, another cool, powerful guy comes out. You blow him up, then a smaller, not so powerful guy comes out. But it's interesting because with him, obviously you do get Cerebros and you do get Fort Max right off the bat, and then it's picking the heads. Now, this is where a few members in my local community cannot and will not put the wrong heads on other Transformers. I don't know what your guys' thoughts are, but I'm okay with it. But I just don't know. I don't know if I could see Cup's head on someone else's head, and you know I can't see Preceptor's head on someone else's head. But yeah, I think that's the one thing about this set which is really interesting. It's like you mentioned earlier, which I'll always keep coming back to. It is very complex. It is really interesting. But Fort Max is like, I'm going to hit you really hard, and then I'm going to hit everyone else. And then I'm going to flip, and then I'm going to defend. And if I get these pips, I'm going to keep doing damage to you, which is kind of annoying, isn't it? Oh yeah, there's one of me, and there's like 3 or 4 of you. Cool. Okay, I got those icons again. Everyone take one. Cool, including you. Okay, yeah. And you can keep dishing it out. And he does hit really, really hard, and he plays really unique and different, which I really, really like. I've seen loads of other characters being played online, like I mentioned earlier. Sky Shadow seems to be quite prevalent. Don't really mind, but the one thing I do really like about this wave is Decepticons finally seem to be at a place where they're scary, and it's awesome because it was for a very
Megatron.
But not Megatron.
Megatron's so bad.
I don't know. I think for me, I think Megatron is very, very good, but it comes down to you building him. Like, I think a prime example of that is Mondo, who's also again in our Deck Tech Challenge. He got I believe it's 9th, just missing out on the top 8, with a General Megs deck, which no one saw coming.
I love that deck.
No one saw that coming, and then Drew was like, hey, can you do a write-up for me so we can put it on our website? And then he came and did a lovely video talking about it on our channel. And it was really interesting, because I honestly think it comes down to some things like that. Because the one thing I cannot get my head around, and your listeners might not be able to get your heads around, maybe you guys might not as well. When I was talking to Drew off camera, Drew says Megatron Living Weapon is as powerful as Optimus Prime Battlefield Legend. And I was like, how? How is that possible? And he was like, you just got to think about the build. And he is on par with Battlefield Legend. And I was like, and that's haunted me for a very, very, very few nights when I go through the binder looking at it, going like, Drew, what madness? What are you talking about? Like, I feel like it's like that scene from Karate Kid when Mr. Miyagi tells Daniel to go paint fences and loads of other stuff, and it's like, what's this got to do with karate? You know, it doesn't make any sense. But yeah, Wave 5, some really awesome stuff. Do you want me to talk about battle cards? Because I can't say the B word, because I think that triggers Kent, and it actually triggers you, Rich, I think.
Okay, look, less so than Kent. Kent has an animosity that is best described in words that, like $5 words, like vitriol or vehemence, right?
Yeah, I feel like the first 4 waves of this game have been highly skill-based, and that's one of the things that has really attracted me to Transformers. One of the things I did not like about Magic was, hey, you put together the best deck, you play test so you know all the matchups, you fly across the country and pay all this money to play in a tournament and then get mana screwed or mana flooded. That's not cool. That's not a test of skill at that point. It takes the skill out of the game. And for the B word, belligerence, it is one of those cards
Can we
that
please start calling it that? Can we start calling
the
it
B
like regularly?
word?
Can we start calling it the B word? I'll have to tell Kai and I'll have to tell Joel later.
Yeah, you guys, you need to make those t-shirts. Make those t-shirts.
Yeah.
Oh wait,
The B word.
you have to get at least like a little bit of the cut, because that was kind of your doing.
It's fine. Just send me a t-shirt. It's perfectly fine. Or put it on a beanie. I don't know. It'd be good. It's all good.
The thing about that card is like, it's a just oops I win card, and like it takes the skill out of the game. And especially when there's cards like Perceptor, and there's other ways too for them to just dig for it and like, oh, there it is, look, I got it, and now you die, now you lose. And it's just I love this game so much. I just don't care for cards that take the skill out of the game. But
so my question is then, to throw it back at you then, Ken, would be and probably Rich as well. So obviously there's certain cards that kind of slowly trigger us. Obviously the B word is I can agree with some things that you agree with, Ken. But like what about like Daring Escape? What about like the infinite combo decks that you can see that obviously have been ruled out? I'm really sorry. I'm really sad that Swap Parts left. That was amazing for compilers.
Parts had to go. It had to
was
go.
so good.
Swap Parts died for Peace Through Tyranny's sins.
Yeah, I know. Hey,
Hot take.
Now, Swap Parts had to go. I mean, in Wave 2, I had what I would consider is the first combo deck that came out. And that was, Thundercracker and 3 other specialists. And I could KO Metroplex in 1 hit and then send over more damage to, one of his little guys and kill that too with Steamroll. And I mean, like, Swap Parts had to go. And that card has no business coming back either. Like,
okay.
Just so you know, I mean, I am like a combo player. That is kind of my specialty.
Ken does love combo.
Yeah, I really love combo, and I love Daring Escape, and I I think that Daring Escape is fine as long as it's going off on like turn 4. If it's going off on turn 1 or 2, which I did do that on stream, and that's not okay.
To me, you did it to me.
Yeah, to Richard on stream at a tournament, and then Multi-Mission Gear was banned 3 days later, which was amazing.
Yeah, but people started to know me from that tournament though, because I sideboarded down to Jetfire, and they're like, "What's this crazy person?"
Yeah, I was like, "What is he doing?" But no, that was actually a really good strategy. I thought it was pretty brilliant, actually, Richard. Nice. Very interesting improvisation in the moment. But anyways, combo is an archetype that should exist. It is cool. It fights on a way different axis than any other, deck archetype can. I think it tests deck builders in a different way than any other, archetype in the game possibly could. I just don't think it should go off on turn 1 or 2. That, and right now, well, I can't say that, but it should not go off on turn 1 or 2, and if it does 3, usually 4, that's fine, because you can disrupt it, you can put pressure on it and knock them off their game.
I actually really hated Daring Escape for a while. I loved Overwhelming Advantage because it didn't outright say win the game on it. I thought that having battle cards that said win the game on it kind of takes away from the fact that this game is really about the characters. The IP is about the characters, the stories are about the characters. So the gameplay, in my opinion, should be about the characters. But I reversed my opinion in Wave 5. I think that what they finally did was they gave people tools to combat it effectively at a variety of stars. I don't even think it has to be the hard hate, right? Like, obviously, Autobot Gears and Turbo Board are... I guess Gears is Stratagem and Turbo Board are incredibly effective against the combo decks. But it's not just those cards. There's even some there are some playable heads that are really good against those cards. Horrible in certain instances can be used strategically to help whittle down the side pieces on the Springer combo deck or something like that, right? Or you can have hold the line. What's the speed trap, counter espionage. What's Chrome Dome? Chrome Dome being able to take EMP waves out of the EMP wave combo deck.
Yeah, that's
forever.
True.
Those are all real interaction points that are totally defensible to include in your deck. And what I'm really about, in my opinion, they've finally put in enough, I think, stopgaps where I'm okay with the card being there. But in Wave 4, I was really not about it existing, personally.
It was fine after the Multi-Mission Gear banning in Wave 4. I mean, because again, every major tournament after that, combo might make top 8, but never got further than that. And then at Pro Play Tour Orlando, the championship, which I think has been the most competitive tournament that's been had at this point. Just lots of really strong players who really knew the format well. I mean, combo just couldn't get in. I don't think it cracked top 16. So, and there were combo decks there. So it was just, but there's answers to it. So.
Yeah, I think that's it. I think that's what's the most interesting thing. I think you kind of nailed it right on the head there, Clint. This wave definitely does a lot of answering. The one thing I can say this wave definitely does is indirect damage. There's a ton. There's a ton of that.
It's never ending.
It is. It does seem to take a little bit of the fun out of right, my big robot is going to punch your robot in the face, kind of, in a way. I played a game today with my good friend Ben, who's also part of a lovely challenge, and he was running beasts. He calls them the Beastie Boys, which is really funny.
That is great. A good deck name should never be underappreciated.
Oh no, it was very very educational. Let's just say horrible is I really am coming to grips with possibly saying maybe the card of the set, because he's one of those characters which you're kind of like, I don't know what he does, and then when you realise the opportunities you can do with him and the things he can do outside of like not attacking is very, very strong. Like it is very insane is the best way of describing it. Like some
He is the best bot they've ever printed.
And that's bold, Ken.
It's to the point where I think it's degenerate.
That's not everybody's opinion. Just for anyone who's listening at home, not everybody's opinion is Kent's "the sky is falling" opinion.
I don't know. I it's very strong. I think the most interesting card. I think, which obviously B word is obviously a very scary card. I think the counter espionage.
I love that card.
WTF? Like, what? Who saw that card coming? Oh, wait a minute. None of us. And how mad that card is it's up there at this precise moment in time because everyone's floating around with secret actions now. They seem to be everywhere. Let's turn this action into a secret action. I love it. Like, if it's not a normal action, it must be secret. So you need to kind of possibly sideboard that card now, which is a thing.
Did you listen? Did you get a chance to listen to us? We got to interview Drew last week. Did you have any chance to listen to that? Probably not.
No, because of my editing, unfortunately.
Yeah. You're in a lot of like time crunch here. I understand. But one of the things he mentioned was that specifically in Wave 5, they were trying to push kind of like the horizon on secret actions. What kind of you could include, what they all did, how powerful they were. That was like a major intentional push in Wave 5. And he said about the card counter espionage specifically that he and the team love designing quote unquote mini game cards. Where they reward a player for reading a situation correctly, for recording information over the course of a game, which is something we did talk about in a previous podcast. But like these mini game cards, these cards that kind of like produce these big moments, these kind of like swells of anticipation, that they are thoroughly fun to design and to play with. And I think that's something that's been echoed when we've been playing. Would you say so, Kent?
Absolutely. And I love that design space and the fact that they are making cards that reflect everything that you just said. I mean, you put it perfectly.
I mean, I was just quoting Kent. I was quoting Drew.
So then to throw it back, the ball back in your court, then guys, what's your favourite characters then from Wave 5 that you guys are loving right now? That have kind of tickled your fancy, shall we say, here in England?
Man, I love Pounce. I mean, that card is really strong and really fun to play with. One of the problems with blue is it doesn't have like a big beater, and that guy gets big really fast. And yeah, he's a lot of fun. He also lets you search a little bit on top of your deck, and I wish he had one more life point, but man, you can't have everything. But yeah, I wish if he had one more life point, I think things would be a little different, and that's how much I've played that card, like against a variety of matchups.
My first instinct, and the card I was highest on from the beginning of spoilers, was Sky Shadow. I was high on Sky Shadow for forever, but that feels like a cop-out to your answer, or to the question you're asking. So
that's perfectly fine. We all knew he wanted. We all knew that should have been Overlord, but no, you keep going. It's fine.
Yeah, so I'm gonna
and you're so right, but I think
the thing
saving
is, Drew
Overlord
mentioned
for...
this. Drew did mention this, that there was going to be. He said the Energy in our interview that there was going to be cards coming out in the next couple of waves that are basically testers for other characters that are coming out. So if everyone loves Sky Shadow, God help us when Overlord arrives, guys. Gosh, man, it's going to be freaking dope. Seriously.
Awesome.
Overlord is one of my favorite characters. And
yeah, I think if they do him on Justice, I think I would probably be like, right, Blitzwing has been like not good. Overlord, mate. If Overlord, like even Cup got a bit of a nice boost in this wave, which is well. But anyway, sorry, you go. Sorry, I'm rabbling on. Go on, Clint. What are you saying? Rich.
Yeah, so I was going to say that my non-cop-out answer, my non just like really powerful, competitively, viable card, is Chrome Dome. I love Chrome Dome. Kent can attest to this, that there's been a Chrome Dome in too many sideboards for when I've been building things in Google Drive. And I think the card is good enough that like it's substantial like combo hate if any of the combo decks come back. So I think it's a card that could see sideboard play there. I think it's just short on stats for it actually being like a super viable main deck character for your main lineup. But I think as a targeted sideboard character, I think it could be really, really effective. Also, I just love just specialist tags on it. Like anything that has a specialist tag on it right now, I'm just in love with, because of the fact that belligerence means tough isn't really a super viable strategy to play defensively. This sturdy armor has been a thing I've been really heavily leaning on. So.
Yeah, well, I think that's a good thing to bring up against the B word. Like Chrome Dome can stop the B word really, really well.
If they have it in hand, they have to already have it in hand.
They have to have it in hand. Yeah, that is true, actually. Yeah.
And it's always on top of their deck. That's the thing about the B word.
It is. It truly is.
The worst thing is,
or my favorite is like I will espionage it out of their hand, and then they just draw another one, and you're like, so much skill. You really outplayed me, didn't you?
Oh man, this podcast has turned scathing. Somewhere along the way.
I absolutely love it. There's some deep cuts on this podcast. I absolutely love it. So you guys, obviously the listeners here, are getting to see the hive mind right now, effectively fighting each other. So it's not all lovey-dovey in these studios, guys. So I can tell you, Mike broke me on one of my battle reports, and he broke me.
Really?
Oh, he broke me over Ratbat. Ratbat broke me. I'm kind of a mellow guy. Like, this is the funniest thing is, I broke Mike on a battle report how we do our battle reports is we basically, when we come to filming, we have 3 decks. We roll the dice, and I go, okay, it's this deck, and then they roll the dice. Cool, you're playing that deck. So we have no idea what we're going up against. So our last 3 battle reports we did one was a Daring Escape deck into my Black Ops deck, which basically was like, I give you the giant middle finger to play any cards or stop escaping, and basically you're not allowed to do anything because everyone forgot about Skywarp in Wave 3. He was absolutely incredible. Yep, that guy. Yep. With, I believe it was Thundercracker from Wave 4 and Trigger Happy. And my God, that deck scared a lot of people recently, which was fun. And then I broke Mike because he couldn't Daring Escape, which was kind of sad for him. And then he broke me when we hilariously rolled dice and we both said, okay, I've never played this character before, neither have I, cool. And then when we revealed the cards, we had a mirror match of Soundwave. And I ran Soundwave with Ravage and Laserbeak, and he ran it with, I believe it was Ratbat and Laserbeak and Soundwave. So it was kind of weird. So he had more star cards and I had more bots or whatever. But yeah, Ratbat's ability of flipping that card and then healing, oh my God, I've never been so triggered in my life. Like, I'm pretty positive I killed that bat like 3 times in one single game. But he just kept healing, and it was just, oh man, it triggered me so much. It just triggered me so much. But I think that's the best thing about like when you record battle reports and stuff like that, because like you get to know people's personalities a little bit. Like even when you're at the game store, I think sometimes you're kind of hesitant to be your normal self. But I can tell you now, the guys in my community know that I play absolute jank, and if I'm winning for some weird reason, it's either I've got like a secret deck that I'm amazing at, or I've been avoiding people, and then I'm going to get beat down. That's basically how it works in my meta. But no, Pounce is an interesting one. Have you pulled a Pounce?
I pulled everything but a Windsweeper, and I really want a Windsweeper.
Okay. Well, so are you now asking people kindly on a podcast if you have a spare Windsweeper?
I would love to trade for a spare Windsweeper.
You know, let's convert let's do it. Let's get it going.
Do it.
I think
Let's get it going.
We'll try to hold the trade talks until after the actual podcast recording.
Well, no,
just for the sake of our listeners, just to keep it in a reasonable lengthwise. Lee, do you have any other questions for us before we start closing things up?
No, it's actually really, really cool just getting your guys' general thoughts on, like, obviously you've said there's certain characters you guys are really, really looking forward to playing. Was there any, like, when it came to opening boxes and stuff like that, I know, like, we're all like 7-year-olds, aren't we? We love opening up boosters when obviously it's easier to go online and buy a card for like 10 pence, but it's easier to just open up a booster and go like, what have I got? What was the one thing you really wanted to get in a booster? Because obviously it sounds like you got everything, Ken, from the sounds of it, except the one card you wanted to get. But Rich, what was the one that you wanted to get?
Honestly, I like opening the Titan packs that they've had in the last 2 waves.
Okay.
I like just the giant pack at the bottom, digging the divider out of the box and finding that giant pack. And because Trypticon had his 3 little bots that he deploys, right?
Yep.
And then you've also got Cerebros and Emissary in the Fort Max one. So it's almost like you're opening like a prize that comes with a kiddie meal, to reference the 7-year-old metaphor one more time.
It's true. So
and
true.
It's this giant, this giant wrapper that you're tearing open. It's just awesome. Like, I don't know why, but there's something viscerally enjoyable about that for me.
Yeah, Trypticon's got game, not just because of the B word. I've built like an iteration right now which is very, very strong. I don't know how good it is against. Yeah, I haven't played it against any Titans yet, but or any of the the headmasters or anything like that, but against other competitive decks and stuff, it's kind of held its own, which is kind of shocking how it was like to the previous wave.
Interesting. I was literally gonna give Trypticon to my next round opponent in a deck tech challenge.
Do it. If you pull me, let's throw down. Like, I'll even openly say it on this podcast, I want to play my Blitzwing. Give me Blitzwing. I own a Blitzwing. I rarely play it, but I would love to play it in the challenge now. There's a lot of good tank stuff. I want to go build that stuff.
Nice.
All right.
I would love to lose to Trypticon or Blitzwing.
That would be awesome, right?
It would be.
If you're gonna
I'd be
lose, that's a
like,
great
heck
feeling.
yeah, man.
Okay, so you heard it here first. If I do play Ken or I play Rich and they do lose, it wasn't because they wanted to, okay, people? And it wasn't by chance or luck or the B word or anything like that. It's fine.
I thought the pairings were randomly drawn. I hope that
they were.
the viewers can hear my air quotes.
They were completely random. So like it was mad getting like Steph and Jamie in the first round. As soon as that came through the computer, I was like, oh boy, there's 2 Titans fighting right now. That's kind of interesting.
Yeah, man. All right, well, Lee, you're a saint for staying up this late to have a chat with us. And let's dig deeper into the Deck Tech Challenge. This is going to be awesome to you, the viewers at home. The matchups are continuing to roll out every couple of days or so, 1 to 2 times a week, according to our friend Lee here.
That's the plan.
So make sure to check those out on YouTube at Bleeped Up Productions, bleeped spelled how it sounds, as they do. I would also like to solemnly swear here that, like I said earlier, Matifer and I will get our content to you and stop procrastinating about this.
That's perfectly fine. You're so laid back, it's perfectly fine. You want to go to the gym, Matt's in Canada. He's so relaxed, it's okay. It's all good. He's just going to go beaver wrestling or something. It's perfectly fine.
Beaver wrestling.
That feels like a euphemism, but that's not about...
No, it's just a thing. That's just a thing in Canada. Obviously, they just fight beavers all the time. Not Justin, but just beavers. They go. That's their thing. There's like bull fighting and all that in Spain. No, it's beaver wrestling in Canada. That's it.
Oh man,
what a plot twist!
Yeah,
I know, eh? Complete.
You know what? I better wrap this up before we get ourselves in any trouble.
Yeah, I agree.
Anyway, that brings us to the close of episode 16 of the Transform Your Game podcast. I just wanted to reiterate once more how much we appreciate all of you out there in the ether listening, whatever platform you're on. You can find our other episodes and more down the line on YouTube, SoundCloud, iTunes, and Spotify. We've got links in the description for those. And if you found the input and information here valuable, you can find more strategy, analysis, tournament reports, and more like it at transformyourgame.net. We look forward to being back to speak to all y'all next week. But until that time, Clear eyes, flip bots, can't lose.